a very out of touch Xbox is bragging about working on a super powerful next gen console. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you are all doing absolutely smashing at the moment. It's lovely to see you all back again. And I just want to talk about some absolutely bonkers stuff that I've seen online, and I want to see what you lot think about it too. So let's dive straight in. Basically, Xbox have been saying repeatedly that they're working on super powerful next gen hardware, and I think it's ludicrous. Like, I can't be the only one who feels that way. I'm pretty certain I'm not going to be the only one who feels this way. So this is the very same Xbox that has just closed down multiple game studios because apparently the gaming industry is unsustainable at the moment. But they're working on even more powerful hardware. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. What do you think? So recently, the Xbox president, Sarah Bond, sat down in an interview with Bloomberg, which is available online for everybody to watch. It's coming across that most people aren't overly happy with how that interview played out. So essentially, throughout a lot of it, and I watched it, and these are my thoughts, I felt that she came across as fairly emotionless. I felt like she answered a lot of the questions kind of reminiscent of how politicians answer questions in a very evasive, non-direct way, which didn't really actually answer the questions that were being asked. She also, in a way, came across as someone who actually isn't personally very passionate about gaming. She seemed to be much more on the side of, like, what's making the money. One of the only times you actually see a sparkle in her eyes about what she's talking about was when she brought up how well Fallout is doing on Amazon Prime. So for me, the passion and the sparkle and the big smile about gaming, it wasn't there, it was misplaced, talking about a different form of media. So that to me came across that she was more interested in what was making money for her and what wasn't, which I suppose is understandable. When you're the president of a corporation, you need it to make money. But at the same time, when your whole business is about gaming, I would have thought you'd need to have some kind of passion for gaming. Is that just me, or am I being unfair there? I'm not sure. So one of the ways that Sarah Bond was talking about trying to remedy the situation was that she was talking about bringing in new players and expanding on their audience by making gaming more accessible to everyone, which sounds good, right? Would it not make more sense, really, to consolidate what they have? Like, shore everything up, make it more safe, make it more satisfying for the current audience that you've already got? Like, rather than trying to expand at the moment, like, is this not the worst possible time to be trying to expand? Like, with the way that the climate is at the moment, I feel like that's not the most sensible thing to do at all. And I'm also concerned that some of the things that she's alluding to doing is actually going to end up alienating the audience that they already have, when really what they want to be doing is making people happier with the product that they've got, so that people that were already going to be interested in Xbox products would be more likely to actually buy into that. I don't know. It just seems to me, some of the things that she was saying, I could pick a lot of holes in it, because it seems more worrying to me than reassuring. And going back to the way that she delivered that information as well, she was quite stony-faced, which said to me, well, I'm not sure that even she was confident in what she was saying. In the interview, she does admit that creating games is taking more time and much more money than it used to, for obviously the current gen hardware that we have. She was directly asked about the studio closures recently, and she completely evaded the question, which doesn't really fill you with much confidence, because it would be quite interesting to hear from the actual president of Xbox as to how that decision was come to. I know I mentioned this earlier about the only sparkle in her eye seemed to be when she was talking about the Fallout TV series, but I only noted one genuine smile on her face throughout that interview, and it was when she was reminiscing about the Indiana Jones movies. To be frank, it feels really bizarre that Sarah Bond would be hyping new hardware when she's clearly very, very, very aware of all of the issues of the gaming industry at the moment. She's more than aware. So it doesn't make sense to me, or probably to you either, that they would be hyping a new piece of hardware that's even more powerful than what we've got, because surely the point of a piece of kit like that would be to create even bigger and more expansive games than what we're getting at the moment. Like, those games are going to take even longer to create, they're going to cost even more money to create. It's just going to compound all of the issues of the gaming industry even further. That's why this doesn't sit right with me. It is really not sitting right with me at all. And I can't be the only one. Okay, so here's what Sarah Bond said back in April that actually contradicts what she said in her interview with Bloomberg in May. We are moving full speed ahead on our next generation hardware, focused on delivering the biggest technological leap ever in a generation. That is ridiculous. Like, at this stage, that's not going to be exciting gamers. That's going to be causing more and more worry. So what you need to take into consideration is the fact that this current generation of hardware, not many people have actually bought it. Like, there's a lot less people owning an Xbox Series S or Series X at the moment, and not as many people have bought a PS5 as the previous generation. And what we've got as a direct result of that is very large game development houses are completely restructuring due to the unsustainable nature of game development at the moment. So how on earth is creating a brand new, even more powerful piece of hardware going to be helping anybody at the moment? Because all logic says that it's not. So what it seems like is that we're going to end up with a brand new console that's going to cost even more money to purchase in the first place than the previous, or well, basically the current generation of consoles already costs at the moment. And then we're going to end up with games for that system which are taking a lot more time to develop and then costing a lot more money to develop, when the production costs of games are already crazy high for AAA titles. And then it's going to make the games even more expensive for end consumers to purchase. The last time that I was actually sincerely impressed by the leap in generations would have been sort of around the time of the Xbox leading into the Xbox 360. That was the last time I was sincerely very impressed by the leap between those. Just to illustrate that a bit, take a look at the GTA games that you get on the PlayStation 2 and then compare them to GTA 5. GTA 5 was released on the PlayStation 3. So here's another example. The Last of Us was released on the PS3 initially, then we got it on the PS4, and now we have it on the PS5. The Last of Us on the PS3 was brilliant. It was brilliant. I know that they've done improvements with each console generation going forwards, but it doesn't take away from the fact that The Last of Us on the PS3 was amazing. Imagine a game released on the Nintendo Entertainment System and then released on the Super Nintendo and then re-released again on the N64, and think about the leaps and improvements that that same game would have had each generation. You just don't get that now. I feel like for each of the leaps in costs of production of games that you're getting now between the more recent generations, it's not translating into the feel of the game. You're not getting these astounding, shocking improvements now. It feels to me that we're getting games that are being re-released, or even new games created in the first place, and it's like they're in these brand new shiny coats of paint. But in all honesty, premium emulsion doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things compared to normal emulsion. Like, you're going to get the same end result at the end of the day. We luckily got our hands on a PS5 a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love the PS5, but I don't love it for playing PlayStation 5 games. I love it for playing PlayStation 4 games. And I feel like I'm not the only one. Whenever I put one of my PS4 games into the PS5 instead, it just runs so much nicer. I used to fire up the PS4 and it sounded like it was having a heart attack playing games that were designed to run on that piece of hardware. But now I take them out and put them into the PS5 instead. It's a much nicer experience than it was before. They load quickly, they play beautifully, the loading times are so much quicker. I just absolutely love it, and I can't be the only person who has noticed this, because when I go to the shop, PS4 games are still selling for quite a decent price. And they're not as expensive as a PS5 games, but quite clearly if someone else has got a PS5, they're still gonna happily buy a PS4 game. There's plenty of PS4 games to purchase and play them on a PS5 and have a much nicer time in doing so. Frankly, the Xbox Series X and S and the PS5 are about as powerful as what we need at the moment. We don't need a new piece of kit that's even more powerful than what we have. It feels very out of touch to be announcing that they're working on the next generation of hardware already. Like, read the room, for goodness sake. It's not what gamers want or need at the moment, and it's certainly not what the game studios want or need at the moment. Thank you, please. The Nintendo Switch is clear evidence that you don't need to have the most powerful piece of kit on the hardware to A, be a success, and B, be a favourite amongst gamers. I have heard that there is some speculation, some rumours, that the next Xbox piece of hardware could indeed be a handheld, and if that turned out to be true, that's a little bit more palatable than a new proper console to live next to the TV. Something like a portable Series X, that would be pretty cool to have, but until there's some evidence out there, I don't want to believe anything like that. I really don't want to believe any kind of speculation, get excited about it, essentially unnecessarily. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, leave me a like, and please, I do want to hear what you think about this, so leave me a comment down below. And if you would like to treat yourself to up to 90% off of thousands of games, then click my affiliation link below to Instant Gaming and check out what they have on offer. They've got thousands of games with, as I said, up to 90% off. So happy shopping, enjoy that, and I'll see you in the next video.